Most people throw around the words generative AI and agentic AI like they mean the same thing, and honestly, that mix-up is going to cost you if you're trying to actually build something useful with this stuff. So let me break down what each one actually does, because once you see it laid out, you won't confuse them again. A large language model, or LLM, is basically a huge system trained on a massive pile of text. Same idea with a large image model, just swap text for images. These things are trained to predict and generate. Give it a prompt, it gives you an output. Text, images, audio, video frames, code, whatever the model was built for. That's it. That's generative AI in a nutshell. You type something in, the model reacts to it, and it hands you back new content based on patterns it picked up during training. And that word reactive matters a lot here. A generative AI system doesn't go looking for anything on its own, it just sits there waiting for your prompt. You ask, it answers. If you're building a chatbot that writes captions or drafts emails or spits out product descriptions based on what you tell it, that's a generative AI application. Nothing wrong with that, it's genuinely useful, but it has one big limitation that trips people up constantly. Here's the thing about these models, they only know what they were trained on. Ask an LLM who won a match that happened this morning, or what your company's internal sales numbers looked like last quarter, and it's going to guess or just tell you it doesn't know. It has no live connection to anything, no internet, no database, no calendar, nothing. That gap between what the model knows and what you actually need in the moment is exactly where the next concept comes in. This is where an AI agent shows up. Think of an AI agent as an LLM that's been given permission and a way to reach outside itself. Say you ask it for today's news on a specific topic. The model realizes it can't answer from memory, so instead of giving up, it makes what's called a tool call. It sends a request out to some external source, maybe a search API like Tavily, maybe a weather API, maybe your company's internal database, gets a response back, and then summarizes that response into something readable for you. Request goes out, response comes back, model wraps it up nicely. One task handled from start to finish by one AI agent. That's really the whole definition right there. One AI agent equals one job done well with the help of outside tools when the model's own knowledge runs dry. You'll see people build these constantly with frameworks like LangChain or Llama Index, sometimes just calling the OpenAI API directly or using something like Grok under the hood. Doesn't matter which library, the concept stays the same. A single agent solving a single defined task. Now here's where it gets interesting, and honestly this is the part almost nobody explains clearly enough. Agentic AI isn't just a fancier name for an AI agent, it's a whole different scale of thing. Picture this, you want to take a raw video you recorded and turn it into a full blog post automatically without touching it yourself. That's not one task anymore, that's 4 or 5 tasks stacked together. Pull the transcript from the video, generate a title from that transcript. Write a description, draft a conclusion, maybe even format it and publish it to your site. You could try to cram all of that into one giant agent, but it works a lot better and honestly a lot more reliably if you split it into separate agents that each own one piece of the job. One agent pulls the transcript, a second agent reads that transcript and writes the title. A third works in parallel on the description, a fourth handles the conclusion, and here's the part that actually defines agentic AI. These agents don't work in isolation, they talk to each other. The agent writing the description might need to see the title first, so it pulls that from the title agent before it starts. The conclusion agent might wait until the description is done. You can even drop a human review step in the middle if you want a person to approve something before it moves forward. So if you want the short version, an AI agent does one job. Agentic AI is a system where multiple agents coordinate, hand information back and forth, and work toward a bigger goal together. That coordination piece, the back and forth, the shared memory across steps, that's the whole ballgame. Without it, you just have a pile of separate agents doing unrelated things. And this isn't some abstract classroom idea anymore. It's actually where a lot of real business money is going right now. A good chunk of large companies have already moved past just experimenting and are running agent-based systems in actual production, handling real workflows, not just demos. Surveys from major research firms this year keep landing on a similar number. Somewhere close to half of enterprise software is expected to have task-specific agents built right into it before too long. That's a massive jump from just a couple years ago when this was mostly hobby projects and hackathons. But here's the part people don't talk about enough, and it's worth sitting with for a second. A lot of these companies say they want to become fully agentic, but way fewer of them actually have the governance and the safety checks in place to let these systems run on their own without a human catching mistakes. There's a real gap between ambition and readiness right now. Executives keep saying they're increasing budgets for this stuff, which is true, but plenty of agentic projects are also getting quietly shut down because they weren't reliable enough once they hit real customers or real data. So if you're building this stuff yourself, don't skip the boring parts, the testing, the error handling, the fallback plans. That's the difference between a demo that looks great in a video and a system that actually survives contact with real users. If you're just getting into this and trying to figure out where to start, don't overthink it. Pick one small task first, something boring and well-defined, and build a single AI agent for it using a tool call to some external API. Get comfortable with that pattern before you try stitching 4 or 5 agents together into a full agentic pipeline. Frameworks like LangChain and LangGraph are the most common starting points, and there's also this newer idea floating around called MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol. That's basically a standard way for agents to plug into outside tools and data sources without everyone reinventing their own connector every single time. Worth keeping an eye on if you're serious about this space. At the end of the day, generative AI gives you new content from a prompt. An AI agent takes that same model and gives it the ability to reach outside itself and solve one specific task. Agentic AI takes a bunch of those agents, lets them talk to each other, share context, and work through a multi-step goal with a human allowed to step in whenever needed. Once you see the layers stacked like that, the confusion mostly disappears.